read from a passage of Scripture. It's Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. I'm reading from the Voice version. It's not a version that is used a lot, but when I read this particular passage, it spoke to me, and I want to just share it with you as I preach today in this first session. It's Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 from the Voice version, and it says this: so be careful how you live. It's saying, watch how you live. Don't just live how everybody else, or don't just do what everybody else is doing. Be careful. Everybody say, be careful. Be careful how you live. It says, be mindful of your steps. In other words, you've got to be mindful of what you're walking into. Some people are walking into stuff they shouldn't be walking into. Others are walking out of stuff when they should be taking a stand on whatever that situation is. Be mindful of your steps. And then it says this: don't run around like idiots. Don't you love the Bible? It says, don't run around like idiots as the rest of the world does. Instead, walk as the wise. And what I love about this, it's not saying you have to be wise, and sometimes I think I'm just not that smart, but it says you can walk as the wise. In other words, find somebody, see somebody. I look at people like Pastor Andre, and I look at them and see what he's done and go, there's a wise man there. And so I'm going to follow him. I'm going to see how he does things. We can learn from him. And then it says this in verse 16. And I love this. It says, make the most. Make the most of every living and breathing moment. In the NIV, the same passage says this: see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time. The Greek word redeem means to rescue from loss. Come on. In fact, really what Ephesians 5:15 is saying is, make the most of the time that you have. Make the most of every living and breathing moment. Why? Because our time is precious. It's valuable, but not often valued. I mean, you think about it, we treat time like an unending resource. We spend it. Some of us, we waste it. Other people, they just plain kill it. But we treat time like it is never going to run out. But it does. R.W. Stockman said, this time is the deposit each one has in the bank of God, and no one knows the balance. So to waste time is to squander a gift from God. That's why Benjamin Franklin said this: do not squander time, for it is the stuff of which life is made. Now I know here today that we are busy. We live in busy times. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to deal with. I mean, think about it. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Is that not true? I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. We live in a very busy time. And so we say stuff to each other like this: I don't have time. I don't have it. We say things like this: I need to find time, like it's lost. But the truth is, lost time is never found. Thomas Edison said, this time is not a commodity that can be stored for future use. It must be invested hour by hour, or else it is gone forever. And today we're asking the Lord, as it says in Psalm 90 verse 12, teach us, O Lord, to number our days, that we might apply our heart to wisdom. So I want to ask you today, church leader, pastor, youth, young adult, whatever sphere of life, business person, wherever this message finds you, if I was to ask you, how do you spend your time? What do you spend your time on? I know there would be different answers from around the room. Sometimes in our church, I go to young people and say, what are you up to? And they're like, nothing. Oh, yeah, nothing. Reminds me of a cup my wife showed me at a shop one time that said, written on it, people say nothing is impossible. But I managed to do nothing every day for the last 10 years now. Come on. It's under nothing. Too many of us, as Pastor Andre said last night, spend time on relationships that don't really build our lives. I'm Pastor Adam. I love you. I'm trying to help you. That do you no good, that suck the life out of you. Some of us, of course, spend way too much time on negative thinking or stinking thinking, failing to apply 2 Corinthians 10:5 that says, take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. But if I was to challenge us in one area, just one area today, I would say this. Some of us spend way too much time on these. I'm talking... Thanks, honey. That's my wife. And you say, well, Pastor, it's just an apple. It's just an apple. What's the big deal? But I know there's a story somewhere about a piece of fruit that's got mankind into trouble somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I've heard this story about this piece of fruit that's got mankind into trouble. Oh, I'm preaching better than you're responding. Come on. Now, don't get me wrong. I love, as you can see around here, I love technology. I am not against technology. I'm not against it. In fact, that is the problem. I love it. It's incredible. I mean, we live in a world, and Jen and I was saying this at our church on Sunday, we live in a world now where technology is so advanced that in our lifetime, the whole world can be reached with the gospel of Jesus Christ because of the technology that is available now. Every place, every part of this planet can become, you should get excited about that, can be touched because of the technology that we have. But as the Emperor says in Star Wars, there is a dark side. I mean, these phones are incredible, really, when you think about the technology and what we're able to do. I mean, you can come in here and you've got 20 versions of the Bible on here. Some of us 40 if we're really special. I mean, we can carry that in. Hallelujah, come on. There we go. I mean, we've got the NIV, we've got the KJV. I can do my banking with the ASB and get my do-re-mi. Come on, somebody. I mean, you can do anything. I can listen to all my tunes, download all my beats. You can go to the concert, put the torch on. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Thank you very much. I see that torch. I see that torch. You can do that. It's just a phone. It's not just a phone. It's a supercomputer. Do you know that this phone has more computing power than all the computers that NASA had in 1969 when they sent a rocket, a man, to the moon? Your phone has more power than all of it. It's a supercomputer. But with this technology in our modern day era, there comes some challenges. Recently, I listened to an audio book called, and I encourage you to get it, called Irresistible by a guy named Adam Alter, and it was subtitled this. It was subtitled The Rise of Addictive Technology in the Business of Keeping Us Hooked. And the premise of the book is that you really can become addicted to your smartphone, to that app, to that iPad, to that game. You really can become addicted to it. So I've realized today I may be talking to some addicts. Turn to the person next to you. Don't look at them strangely like you're saying, are you one of them? I said, How much time do you spend on your smartphone? I mean, have you ever found yourself asking that question? Or have you ever found other people asking you that question? Get off your phone. I see that hand, I see that hand, I see that hand. You found yourself in moments where you just go to look at it and suddenly an hour has gone. I've been sharing this message with our church, and after one session this lady from our church came up and she said, oh, Pastor, it's so true. And she's like, I was just going to the shops to get some shoes. And I pulled up at the thing and I thought, before I go to the shoe shop, I'll just check my mail. I'll just check. And she said, I flipped open my phone and right there it says, do you know the songs of the 70s? She's like, oh, do I know the songs of the 70s? She said the next thing I pushed it and they had 50 questions. Half an hour later, she's still sitting there. She's going, ah. Ever had one of those moments? Come on. Liars burn in hell. Come on. I mean, people get stressed if they can't get Wi-Fi. We just traveled to India a few weeks ago, and as we were going in, I was like, "Where's my wife?" She was walking up the bridge, and she's like, I was like, "Dear, what are you doing?" She's like, "Trying to get Wi-Fi." I'm like, Did you get connected? I thought she would be holding up everybody else, but the whole plane was trying to get connected. You're stressed. Listen, I bet you some of you, even when you arrived here, the first thing out of your lips was not, God, just move sovereignly on this moment. God, I'm just believing for you to touch us, and I just can't believe I'm here in the Hawke's Bay. No, many of you didn't do that. Many of you came and go, is there any Wi-Fi? Any Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi? Turn to the person next to you and say, he could be talking about you. People get stressed when they can't get a connection. In fact, do you know, don't look it up, don't Google it right now. Wrong message to Google it. But people, there's actually a name now for that condition. It's called nomophobia. Yeah, look it up after the service. Nomophobia is a term describing the fear of being without a mobile device or beyond a mobile phone contact. In a survey, listen to this, about smartphones, 46% of people surveyed said they couldn't live without their smartphones. This is not just young people. 46%. In fact, some said this, listen to this, some would rather suffer a physical injury than injure their phone if given the choice. 66%. We know who you are. 66% said they would rather go shoeless for a week than temporarily release their phones. Look at the person next to you. Are they wearing shoes? Here's the thing. The technology, the apps, the games, the devices actually work. You need to hear this. They actually work in the same way that drugs do on the brain. Like drugs, it stimulates the pleasure center of the brain and releases a chemical called dopamine. Did you pick that up? It's just a little... Obviously not with the intensity of heroin, etc., but enough to keep you going back again hour after hour. It could be on that game app. You start playing that game and you reach level 46 and you want to go to level 47. Anybody been there? Thank you for your honesty. One person in the whole auditorium. 46, and then you get to 47 and it's time to go to 48. You can't stop. Online shopping. Pause for effect. All the men in the house go, preacher, brother, preacher, come on. Some of you been playing cards, MasterCard, Visa card, BNZ card. You're doing online shopping. You know, I was saying, you know, sometimes we're sitting at home and the courier van's pulling up again. One day deal. She's gone on there, she's looked at it, she's got, oh Lord, I got it, there's 50 of these and they're only available today. You just be the first person in there. Boom! Got it. Dopamine. Ooh, I gotta beat everybody else. The couriers just know where our house is, they just... I bought 2 and saved twice as much. That little rush when 50 people like your post or your Snapchat or your video, like. And it's like, ooh, dopamine. And then you start looking, what else can I put on? What else can I do that will get me that same feeling again? It's addictive, man. It's addictive. Come on, you know what it's like. You're sitting in the restaurant. You're trying to have a conversation with your friends, and you get your phone on the table, and you're trying to talk with your friends, and suddenly that. Is it like it calls you? It's like Sauron in the Lord of the Rings. I see. You're like, he wants it, he needs it. Precious. You know. Come on, let's preach it. It's addictive, man. You know, if you watch your neighbor going out to his letterbox every 15 minutes and check it out, going back in, get up in the night, there he is in the middle of the night. Oh, letters. You go, that's kind of weird, but some of us, that's how we're doing our email. Come on, somebody. Good preaching, Adam. Thank you very much. Who's emailed me at 5 o'clock in the morning? Someone said to me, I remember a day when phones used to hang on the wall. Anybody remember those days? Come on, bring them back. You know, anyone wanted to talk to your daughter? They had to come through you. Who are you, boy? What's your name and where do you live? You want to date my daughter, you have to come to me. All the dad said, bring it back. Come on, bring it back, bring it back. But it's because smartphones are now more mobile than ever that it lends itself to addictive behavior. I mean, think about it. I mean, these things are incredible now. They used to have Touch ID. The latest one, you don't even have to touch it. It recognizes who you are. When you pick it up, it goes, hello, gorgeous. It can tell, it's got facial recognition. Well, that would be what it would say about me anyway, but... Security removes that person. But here's the thing, friend, it's not just the actual phone. There's many things contributing factors to it. There are many things that are contributing to this addictive behavior. So it's not just a phone, it's really the ease of connectivity, because back when the internet first started, how many remember dial-up? Yeah, come on. You remember dial-up? You used to get onto the internet, push the button. That's not addictive. You try and download a song, and it would take like 1 hour, and it would cut out after the time. You say, I'll just go and buy the record. Some people are here going, what's the record? Not now, man. I mean, we are connected. We got 4G, bro. 4G. Not only have we got 4G, we don't have just broadband, we got ultra fast broadband. Anything you want, click away. So habits are changing. A guy named Kevin Hollis, he created an app, and I'd encourage you to download it onto your phone. He created wait, listen. Silence, you naughty people. He created an app called Moment. It's where to make the most of every living and breathing moment. He created an app called Moment, and it tracks people's pickup times and people's screen. Listen, in 2008, adults spent an average of 18 minutes a day on their smartphones. Today, people spend an average of 3 hours, 180 minutes staring at their screen. That's not when they're doing telephone calls or that type. This is just staring at the screen. This is not any other device. This is not iPad, just on your phone, just on the one device. 3 hours, 180 minutes a day. And they pick that device up 41 to 50 times a day. Now you might go, that's crazy, but here's the interesting thing. Most of those same people who were surveyed in that felt they don't spend anywhere near that amount of time on their phone. Most believe that it was half that. They thought, oh, maybe an hour, maybe 1.5 hours. Maybe I just pick it up maybe 10 times a day. I downloaded the app. My name's Adam White, and I'm an addict. Don't you judge me. Turn to the person and say, you've got issues. You all got issues. I downloaded it, and I was shocked. First day, 3 hours, 47 minutes, something like 50 times I picked up the phone. And some of it was for work stuff and doing emails and things like that. I'm a pretty slow sort of typist, so it can take me along. So it's work stuff as well. But also there's a lot of stuff like just aimless wandering of YouTube. And oh, there's another video. And here's the thing, they're designed these days not to stop. If you don't push the button, it'll automatically bring you the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Or it might be Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. And in India, when I lived in India for many years, people would say, what are you doing? And they just, time pass. What do you mean time pass? I'm just passing time. Time is passing, time pass. This is what I'm doing, just time pass. And I look at those 3 years, a lot of it's just time pass. And here's the thing, my friend, that's just the average. That's not like extreme. That's just the average. 3 hours, that's 1,095 hours a year. That's 65,700 minutes of our time. And I realize that this is not just something that affects society as a whole, but it also affects us in the church. And after this series of sermons that I did in that church, I had so much feedback from people. Sending a text, I got different texts from people. I'm an addict. They're here in the room. I'm an addict. I've just spent I can't believe it, I spent 5 hours and 47 minutes on my phone today. I'll encourage you to download this app. Another person said to me, I buy books, Adam. I buy books. I buy books as you were speaking. Online books. I just buy these online books because I feel like, yeah, I want to grow and stuff. The problem is I've bought heaps of them. I haven't read any of them. But it just makes me feel good, dopamine, when I'm buying those books. So when I said, oh, Pastor, after your message, I deleted Snapchat. It's gone. I said, as soon as I did, I started wondering, now, I wonder what everybody else out there is thinking now they've seen my Snapchat is deleted. And here's the thing, it can be like a packet of cigarettes, you throw it away, only to download it 2 weeks later and just say, oh no, I'm okay. I've fallen off the wagon. And someone come and say to me, I can't believe it. I said, at the end of this past, I used to wake up in the morning, I used to pray, I used to seek God, and she said this, now I'm Facebooking before I'm facing God. I'm going to see who's posting and what's online. In fact, listen to this, 62% of all smartphone users immediately grab their phone upon waking up. What about you? It affects us. Grace, my daughter, after she heard this sermon, she said, Dad, hey, guess how much time I've spent? Oh, I don't know, she doesn't really do that, but that's how I sort of do young. She's like, Dad, guess how much time I spent on my phone today? And I'm like, I just took a step. I said, 5 hours. She's like, really? Wow. I can't believe, Dad, you're even thinking like that. She said, 47 minutes. I said, well done, Grace. What were you doing? She said, I was just making earrings and watching videos on YouTube on my computer. So I said, so you just swap one screen for another screen? She said, that's not fair, Dad, that's not fair. You said it was just a cell phone. Friend, I don't know what your screen of choice is. Come on. It could be an iPad, it could be whatever. I don't know what your screen of choice is. But see, I'm making a point about mobile devices, whatever they would be. I don't know if your screen's an iPad, a PC, a Mac, an Android, a PlayStation, Xbox, a good old TV. I don't know what it is. I don't know what app tickles your appetite. I thought I did that one myself. It's like Netflix now, you know, binge. I mean, when I grew up, if you wanted to watch the next program, you had to wait a whole week. Come on. It took a whole week before you could. Now it's just like one after the other. Before the other one's finished, they've brought up the next one so you can see it. Now, I say all of this to say, if you thought, I don't have time, maybe you can find time here. Maybe you could switch off your phone, turn off your notifications, stop sleeping and going to bed with your phone. Filling every vacant moment with meaningless scrolling. Find some time here. Find some time to seek Him first, to face Him before you face book. So I'm wanting to say you could find some time here. See, when the Apostle Paul calls us as followers of Christ in Ephesians 5:16 to redeem the time, to make the most of every living and breathing moment, he was not just saying this so we can be happy and have really good time management. There is a because. He says make the most of every living and breathing moment because. He's telling us because. Because what? Because these are evil times. In the NIV it says these days are evil. In other words, there's a sense of urgency. There is a job to be done. There is a go into all the world and preach the gospel. There's a to go into all the world and make disciples of it. There is an urgency because the days are evil. All we have to do is look at the news over the last few days, from a sad moment in Las Vegas to terror attacks in London. There is a sense of urgency in the scripture because the days are evil. Make the most of every living and breathing moment because the days are evil. There is a task to be done. And there is much at stake. That's why Jeremy Taylor said this: people's eternity actually is at stake. That's why Jeremy Taylor said this: God has given man a short time here upon earth, and yet upon this short time his eternity depends. Someone said this: when you and I kill time, we murder opportunity. Henry David Thoreau said, you cannot kill time without injuring eternity. How many hours are we wasting in meaningless mobile madness? If the average time on a mobile device is 3 hours a day, 180 minutes, 1,095 hours a year, distracted, disengaged, and disconnected to the God opportunities around us. And then I started thinking, what if we got intentional? What if we got intentional and turned those hours from futile to focused? In new life, what difference would that make? What difference could that make? And I started to think about it. There's 10,000 people in our New Life churches every Sunday. What if each of those 10,000 people took one futile hour of YouTube, game playing, Facebook, and got intentional about investing their time into what really matters, making the most of every living and breathing moment? What could happen? Well, in just one day, we could redeem 10,000 hours. If we just saved 1 hour a day, we could save 10,000 hours. 1 week, if it was just 1 hour, 70,000 hours. 1 month, 280,000 hours. Listen, in 1 year, if we just could pull back 1 hour of our time away from meaningless mobile madness, in 1 year, 10,000 of us would save 3,650,000 hours. What could God do with 1,650,000 hours? If you don't have time, you can find time here. The worship team can come. You know, most of us here would know the parable that Jesus told, the parable of the talents, found in Matthew chapter 25. There's 3 guys. The master gave one 5 talents. He gave another 2 talents and another 1 talent. We know the story. 2 invested and produced, and they were told by the masters, well done, good and faithful servant. 1 did nothing and was given a rebuke. But in Luke 19, Jesus tells a similar story, not exactly the same, but a similar story. It's different in a few ways. And I want to focus on one small difference that I noticed, that I felt God whisper something to me as I was thinking about this conference and our time together. When the master called the first servant said, the one you gave me, I've turned it to 10. Another servant says, I've turned the one that you gave me into 5 more. And to this the master replies in Luke chapter 19, verse 17. Well done, my good servant, because you have been trustworthy in a very small matter. Take charge of 10 cities. To the second, he said, you take charge of 5 cities. And I felt God's Spirit stir my heart. That if we in New Life took charge of the small matters of our minutes and our hours, if we would live each one of those 3,650,000 hours focused rather than futile, if each one of us would make the most of every living and breathing moment, what cities would he give us? What people's lives could be changed. What nations could be turned around. What cities would he give us? How many cities would he give us if we would begin to live our lives and move from futile to focus? What churches are in us? What cities could we change? What opportunities could open up for new life to impact every town, every nation? I'm so excited that this year we've been able to see the launch of 3 new churches. In fact, we've got another church. We sort of got Pastor Cliff and Lisa, where are you? Just stand up there. We've got a 4th one, we're just hanging around. So they've just been doing the render gathering. Stand up, they've come here. Come on, I want to see you. Give these guys. That's got a 4th one as well. Got a couple of 100 people already been to the art training. It's great to have them here. And just great to see a young Māori leader. Come on, I love it. I love it. Love it. Taking ground. Doing amazing things there. But there's still many cities unreached. There's still many towns that don't have a church. There's still many nations who have never heard the name of Jesus. We've heard it many times. Some people haven't even heard it once. What cities would he give us? Come on. What city is in you? What town is in you? G. Campbell Morgan said, this time is made up of minutes. Let these be watched as having been dedicated to God. It is in the sanctification of the small that the hallowing of the large is secure. You have one life, why not live a great one? You know, here's the thing. Great men and women throughout history, like Billy Graham and Smith Wigglesworth and John Wesley, Mother Teresa, Charles Spurgeon, all of them had the same 24 hours a day that you and I have. No more, no less. It is what they did with that time that made a difference. So let us make the most of every living and breathing moment. You know, as I close, we've been talking about the use of apps. But one app is desperately needed. One app is desperately needed to be downloaded, and that is application. Sort that up myself. Application. Again, we can hear this and do nothing. We can pray a prayer, which we will. But really, we can continue on and go, that was nice, but nothing changes. We need to, I guess, assess where we're at, to call back from loss, to redeem the time that God has given. Why? Because the days